nice little B cut here called Trudy. Great drum beat in this song. So I've got some facts and figures on that music from the 60s later today. I wanted to start with some more distributor maintenance because we've been doing a little bit of this every episode. When adjusting your points to the awesome air-schooled business card perfect gap at 16 to 17 thousandths of an inch, I have a little trick for actually adjusting points without losing your adjustment. Once you've loosened the screw inside the distributor, a quarter turn, no more. Wow, Bill, you'll tighten that one quite a bit. There's one or two little dots inside the distributor that if you stick your screwdriver into, you can engage the points and engage those two dots. And by twisting the screwdriver, as long as your screw is not too tight, not too loose, you can adjust your points with just one tool. That's why this is the screwdriver that I carry with me everywhere I travel. So that wraps up our 3 parts of distributor adjustment. Make sure you CLA, clean, lubricate, adjust, clean the inside, lubricate the nylon rubbing block, lubricate the cam, lubricate the point pivot pin, and a couple drops of oil down the center shaft. You'll be good to go for many, many miles of smiles. All right. Today, I also wanted to talk about something I did recently, which I thought was kind of cool, which was what I said last week, was filling up an entire logbook of road appointments and travels, and every gallon of gas I've ever put in my bus is in here. Every place I've ever been, Arizona, California, Oregon, all that's in here, along with something I did at every tank of gas. I've even had people sign this gas log. If you've been in my bus when I got gas, you've written what we've done in here. So thank you to everyone. I just hit 100,000 miles in my gas logs. I've got both of them here, you can see, and I digitized the entire library of valve adjustments, oil changes, lubrication services, and I found that I have done an average of 1 valve adjustment per every 4,000 miles of driving, which is pretty good considering the maintenance interval from VW was 6,000 miles, and my personal maintenance interval is 3,000 miles. The above average result is probably from that one time I drove around the United States, like 14,000 miles without doing a valve adjustment, so sorry, buddy. But I'm going to be posting these maintenance logs online so you guys can see what it's like to daily drive a 51-year-old car around the United States that's pretty well sorted. And you'll see quickly that almost everything you're going to be doing is lubricating your distributor, like we did just now, adjusting your valves, and changing your oil. And apart from that, it's like driving a Honda or driving a modern VW. You just get in and go. So I'm really proud of Buddy for all the things he's done there. But yeah, I want to share these maintenance logs with everyone. So check back in the comments for later. We're going to be doing the question and answer session later in the show today because I wanted to give everyone more time to type out their questions. It's really hard for me to read on Instagram, so if you guys don't get your question answered, ask it on Facebook or just type it again. I'll probably see it. Hey, Dusty, welcome all the way from Missouri. And Mom, hello. Hi, Mom. Hope you're doing well. Say hi to Owen, the dog, for me. On Facebook, hey, Jeff. You can answer your questions and I'll be able to read through those. So I look forward to getting to those a little later. For now, I have a small business tip for all you fellow small business owners out there struggling with the current times we're living in, not just distributor caps and beer cans all over the desk, but more specifically, what to do if you're feeling a little nervous and you want something to calm yourself down about the impending financial collapse of capitalist society. So I have a prayer candle that I bought at the grocery store for like 79 cents on my every 10-day grocery run. Not going out on a separate trip for this, but I have applied an air-schooled sticker to the front of my prayer candle. Now, I know y'all small business owners got those 3-inch round stickers from Sticker Mule. I know you got them. What I do in times like this is I like to light my prayer candle for air-schooled to pray to the gods of Nordhoff and Ferdinand Porsche and Benjamin Pon that I too will survive this questionable time in our life. So I'll let these burn for a bit and really think about what I'm doing with my life. So small business owners out there, get yourself a prayer candle and a 3-inch sticker. I'm going to set that right there. There you go. Now everyone can see it. Okay, so that is my small business tip for the day. Next thing, I went on a big road trip. In 2016, I had quit what I thought was my dream job. It didn't turn out to be that way. And I had a pretty well-sorted Volkswagen bus, and I wanted to drive it around the United States. My goal at the time was to figure out where do I want to live? What do I want to do with my life? You call it a quarter life crisis if you want. It totally was. But something that came out of that was a blog that I wrote. I tried to update it every so often. One of the best things to come out of that blog was that for Christmas that year, my mom actually turned the blog into a book. What the Road Tells Me. The title is a spin-off of the Gustav Mahler classical work. He wrote a piece of music, what love has taught me, what life has taught me, and what music has taught me. And the title for the book, What the Road Tells Me, is sort of a play on his piece of music, but it also was really just 8 months of my life that I set out to learn. And I wanted to do a reading from the book. This is my business cards or my bookmarks. They're just everywhere. They're points, they're feeler gauges, they're bookmarks. I'm doing a reading from this book because I've got some technical information I wanted to share with everyone, and this is the backstory of how I learned not to ignore your valve adjustments. Titled, What the Hell Is That Knocking? Tick, 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 tick. Obviously, you can tell what that is, right? It's my engine at the Love's truck stop in Boise City, Oklahoma, before I yanked the engine out on a set of Coca-Cola milk crates. Of course I didn't find anything there, and now that I know what the problem actually is, it was foolish to think I could solve it there in a measly 7 hours. I had 3 options. Ignore it, get a hold of John in New Mexico and drive almost 400 miles, hoping the engine doesn't explode and kill me in the mountains. Or number 3 is I could get a hold of Rich in Colorado and drive 500 miles and hope the engine didn't explode in the mountains. Tick, tick, tick. Okay, option 1 was stupid. Option 2 actually was out of town and didn't get my message. Option 3 was my only choice. Luckily, Rich texted me back and offered his floor jack immediately. After all, the floor jack is the only tool I don't have with me necessary to rebuild an engine. Of course, one does not do 500 plus miles with a naughty engine in one day. I drove through Texas and it was flatter than they say, and they say it's pretty flat. Tick, 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 tick. I drove through New Mexico. It was more dreary than they say. Could have just been the rain. And they did not say it was dreary. I got to Colorado by nightfall. Now the noise is getting worse, and it occurred in a more constant cadence. Tick, 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 tick. For some unknown reason, the noise went away at high speeds. Luckily for me, I was to be floored in second gear for the next 9 hours of Colorado Rocky Mountain driving. Tick, tick, tick. It sounds like a time bomb, doesn't it? At least the heater works. Today was the first day I've woken up before the temperatures rose above freezing. I did a valve adjustment with 2 pairs of pants on, 2 shirts, a sweater, and a jacket. I didn't wear gloves for that procedure, which was my mistake that I learned only after the fact. Tick, tick, shit. It's still there, and now it's louder. Too bad, car. It's beautiful here, and we're taking the long way. If you don't behave, we'll climb Pikes Peak, and you'll like it. I chickened out before Pikes Peak. I'll be back. We did manage to tick, tick, tick our way through the Garden of the Gods, and that made me miss the rock climbing gym. Dawn Patrol is still going on in San Diego with the warmish weather and the surfing sunrises. But my Dawn Patrol here was pretty legendary. The park was going to get crowded today, and we took our pictures and we ticked on our way out. Luckily for me, Colorado has pretty accepting drivers of the fact that I have 28 horsepower at the wheels, and it drops off a bit at elevation. It's time for the big mountains. See, the Rockies, I saw them for the first time 4 years ago, and I've had a reverence for them that are only matched by the Eastern Sierras. Seriously, though, the first time I saw them, I thought they were clouds until I got closer and closer and realized the true enormity of their size. Here we go. I said a prayer to Heinz Nordhoff, Ferdinand Porsche, and Nicholas Otto. Up and over we went. At this point, it was do or die. The cold will be relentless, and I have no idea if my car is about to explode. So that was a selection from What the Road Tells Me. This is not available. I have a copy, and my mom has a copy, so you can find us at a party, and we'll read to you. But other than that, this is all in my bedroom. Now, the tick, tick, tick was a shattered lifter. That circle you see is supposed to be a nice, perfectly even circle. Instead, it's got a kind of a pizza slice taken out of it, caused by a metallurgical failure. Now, a lot of people say, what oil do I run in my Volkswagen? And I'm like, just put clean oil in it and you're good. The oil debate goes on because these lifters are subjected to unique forces in the Volkswagen engine that not every engine nowadays has. So back in the day, older oils had a lot more zinc additives that our modern oils don't have as much. Zinc additives are supposed to protect surfaces like this from being sheared off. I used a high zinc oil and it did not protect my lifter one damn bit. That is why I don't care what oil I run in my Volkswagen, because I know that the good oil didn't protect bad parts. and less good oil isn't needed for really good quality parts. So buy the best, most expensive parts you can find, and avoid things like this by listening to your valve adjustment. I was naive and young in my first engine build, and this lifter actually showed itself during my first 6 valve adjustments as a constantly opening valve adjustment. As the lifter face started to wear down, there was more of a gap in the valve train, and it showed up as a loose valve adjustment. So when I talked to you on an air-schooled lesson day about the importance of adjusting valves and the importance of listening to your engine, this is where I'm coming from. Don't ignore your valve adjustments. I want to know from everyone who's watching in the comments or in the if you can comment after the live video, even just in the next couple days, what have been the most productive things you've done for your car or your home projects throughout the last couple days? I've been pretty good about not doing a ton of stuff on my car. It doesn't need a lot of maintenance, but I've done a nice waxing job. I've adjusted the valves once, even though it didn't need it. I've installed some chrome bits that it was missing. But what have everyone else done on your cars? Volkswagen or not? I'd be curious to know. What have you done in your houses? I built a vegetable garden, and that's about it. I cleaned my door to my bedroom. So I've not been terribly productive, but I've been having a good time learning some music, digging really deep into some songs that we're going to hear later today, and working out some stuff for next week's show. Next week's going to have a little bit of a segment that I want to challenge everyone else. Thank you, Knuckle Duster Music. Nice roads. Appreciate that. I want to challenge everyone else to a CV joint assembly contest. Take a CV joint from a Volkswagen on the bench in its 5 to 11 parts, and how quickly can you assemble it? I'm going to be doing mine live on camera, and I want everyone else to try theirs. See if you can beat my personal best time is like 10 seconds. I've seen guys out there do it in like 2 seconds. So see if you can beat my CV joint assembly time next week. Same VW time, same VW channel. I've got some good comments coming on Instagram, so Facebook people, you're slacking. I have almost finished this handle of... Oh, I can't read the rest. Good on you, Dusty. Matt says, just watching the Tiger King count. Any way that you're spending your time at home is literally you helping to save the world. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get this chance again, or you either, in your lifetime, that the best thing you can do for all of humanity is nothing, and I am loving it. My bank account isn't so much, but that's going to be a shameless plug that I offer VW services over Skype, FaceTime, and Zoom. I do virtual consultations where I will show you how to fix your car by fixing my own car, and hopefully you can get your car running again. Wow, someone scheduled a full paint job. Sammy Sweet Boss. Awesome. Auto body shops right now may cut you a deal since times are a little slow. Very cool bit of advice. Thank you for that. That's interesting. I would not have thought to get my car painted by someone else. I'd probably just spray it myself. But yes, if you're looking for long-term auto projects that don't involve transferring your car back and forth between people, this would be an excellent time to get some deals on body work, especially if people are looking for work out there too. Matt follows up with, I'm good at doing nothing. You and me both, my friend. All right, so let me know what you've done in your isolation. Show pictures of your car, drop them in the comments, whatever you can. From Facebook, thanks for coming back for another week. Thank you for coming back for another week. I appreciate everyone being here. It's time for the question and answer section of our day. Oh man, that was really anticlimactic. I missed the button on my iPad. All right, it's time for the question and answer portion of the day. Most recent question I got was, what is the best way to access a starter on your VW? I have 2 favorite ways of doing this. On the bus, I crawl under. On the bug, or on a lowered bus, or a Type 3, or anything not a stock height bus, I actually like to drive the right side of the car, the right side of the car up onto a curb, which gives the car a little tilt. It's also extremely safe. There's no jack stands to collapse. Even in an earthquake, you'd be pretty safe underneath your car if half of it's parked on a curve. Get the right side of the car up on the curb, and you'll be able to access the starter and the transmission that way. But the stock height buses have enough ground clearance that even if you're a much bigger dude than me, you should be able to get in there no problem. Vincent asked about a relatively stock engine, but with a little higher compression and a W110 cam. That camshaft likes to be revved. It produces most of its power above 2,000 RPM up to like 6,000 RPM. So if you're having a problem with takeoffs in this camshaft under 2,000 RPM, my advice to you is apologize to your clutch and rev the engine a little higher when you let the clutch out. That's how it's designed to be driven. I bet you that camshaft was designed by clutch manufacturers. If you're a fan of the old Click and Clack, the Tappet brothers on the radio, like I am, you know that they had numerous names for the clutch manufacturers associations of the world and how they loved being abused because they made more money. So there you are. I heard a good one recently from Jason. Should I run a battery cover on my 66 Bug? A lot of Bugs, things, Type 3s have batteries under the back seat where the spring metal can actually reach down if the springs are sagging and touch the battery if you have the wrong battery installed. From the factory with the Group 42 battery, the batteries are relatively low and protected, but with aftermarket batteries or the wrong battery put in by an idiot who doesn't know how metal works, yes, the battery can be tall enough to need some sort of protection. So if that's the case, yes, I'll use like a rubber floor mat, even just like a rubber grip mat, or just tell my heavyset friends not to sit in the back right, sit on the left. Good. I've got some good comments on Instagram, but I gotta stand up. What clutch kit would you recommend? I need like 10 details about your car to make a recommendation. Sorry. That's a good question for an email or a PM or next week's episode. If you want to write out a long question, I can answer it on the air. Hi, everyone. There's buttons here to wave, but I'm gonna stay tuned to both audiences and just answer the questions that I can. Hey, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. All right, yeah, we're all caught up on the questions. Next up, valve cover leaks and what to do about them. I get asked this way more than I would think any other question. I was asked this on a boat from Vashon Island to Seattle one time by another VW bus owner. My secret sauce is shellac. This is an older version called Indian head shellac, and it's not made of real Indian heads. The new version is called lion head shellac, and it's not made from real lions either. It's real shellac, I'll give you that. It comes in a brown bottle. Sometimes the caps are red. You can show this picture to people at the auto parts stores because they might not know what they're talking about. It's not very common stuff that a lot of hot rod guys are using. So, we got more information about our clutch question. We'll get there in a second. I use this following the instructions, which is a thin, even coat on the very clean valve cover and a thin, even coat on the gasket. Apply them together. Wait a few minutes for the product to skin, then apply them together, put it on the engine, wait a few hours, and you can fire it right up. If you have experienced an air-schooled day with me, we have probably used this. It probably came from this exact bottle. So if anybody's valve covers out there are leaking, let me know, because I don't think we've had a bad one yet, unless you've installed it wrong, and that's on you. So I had the clutch question earlier. What clutch do I recommend for a 69 bay window bus? The two biggest things to keep in mind are the fact that, now this is on Instagram, so I'm going to address this camera. One, the transmission throwout bearings changed around 1970-71. So there's two main types of pressure plates. Those with a ring in the center and those without a ring in the center. And they just have fingers in all different ways. Figure out which style you have, and that'll kind of split the field of available clutches 50-50. From there, I prefer the lightest clutch pedal possible because I'm sitting in traffic a lot. I daily drive my car. I don't want to be pumping the clutch with my left leg like some sort of silly exercise. I recommend the most stock clutch you can. I do recommend the more expensive German or European-made clutches versus the Brazilian-made clutches. They fit the flywheel better, and they generally have a little bit better intrinsic balance, which means they're not going to vibrate and make as much noise. I've also had a Brazilian pressure plate explode in my car, which makes a hell of a sound at 65 miles an hour, and I have not yet had a German pressure plate explode. So go for the German, go for the spring clutch disc, and make sure everything's clean. No fingerprints on the pressure plate. If you do, sand it one way, then sand it the other way. It's called a cross hatch. It'll help take your finger oils off and give you smooth clutching every single time. I like this question. What has been the most unique or odd encounter? A couple things came to mind. One time on the most recent tour, I ended up in Hell Creek, Montana at a sort of cowboy bar. It was cash only. They had live music on weekends, but I was here on a Wednesday, and there were some dice games going along. And after I had met some other fellow travelers who were awesome, we talked about music and about what I do with Volkswagens, I got the attention of some cowboys who invited me to play some dice. And I took them for everything they had, which is about $250, cash in singles. I bought a round of drinks for everyone at the bar, and I got out of there as fast as my fucking car could go. That was one of my favorite experiences on the road, was paying for gas for all of the Northern United States in a dice game that I had no idea how to play. So to my family that plays Yahtzee, thanks for the practice. Which ball joints do you recommend for late bay? I'm thinking about buying a special tool from Snap-on. If you like collecting tools, go for it. If you like doing work yourself, go for it. I send mine out because the tools required are like the size of my car, like half the size of my car, basically. There's a brand on eBay called OEM. It sounds like a joke, but it's not. I've had really good luck with them. However, I've had to turn the outside down on a lathe a couple thousandths of an inch. With all this, I'd probably just send them out to get them done. Like I said, unless you're the kind of person that likes collecting tools and doing weird stuff once. But I replace ball joints on my daily driver bus about every 5 to 6 years. So it's not worth holding on to the tools for me. If I had 12 hours before lockdown in San Diego, total lockdown, how would I spend it? I would get tacos from my favorite Mexican food place. I would probably catch 1 or 2 waves at my favorite beach on my surfboard. I would definitely try to get my bus kind of parked on the beach, eat my tacos and surf for a bit, maybe play my ukulele or my bass, and I'd come back home, sit on the patio, and have a campfire. That's what I would do. So I'm kind of got half of that going here as it is. Matt, thank you for the suggestion. Back to the ball joint question. Instagram's got a bit of a delay. You can actually rent the tools. So if you're looking to do ball joints and you want the Snap-on rings and you've got the press, you can rent the tools as well. I don't know where from. Google's your friend. Where's the best taco in Tempe, Arizona? I did not get into tacos, but I can tell you that my favorite quesadilla at 2 a.m. was from Filiberto's on University Avenue. Hands down. What kind of sound system do I have in Buddy? I have a good one. The components are from various manufacturers, Alpine, JL Audio, and all the wiring was done custom by a shop and I who worked together on it. My biggest thing is I have a 5-inch subwoofer under the back seat, which is tiny as far as subwoofers go, but it packs a huge punch when it's well tuned and well amplified. It's way more than I need, so I actually have a separate subwoofer volume adjust under my dashboard that I can turn it down. Starter show and tell. I promised this week I would have a starter and show everyone how to rig your starter to get your bus started even if it's not working at the key, and I could not find a starter due to the isolation, quarantine, non-essential things we got going on here in California. So I'll bring pictures next week, or if anyone wants to mail me a starter, I'll send you my address in the PMs. So let me know if you've got a spare starter hanging around. I saved the question that got answered last week that I forgot for last. How long have you owned Buddy, and what got you into VWs? I've had Buddy since May 2nd, 2012? 11? 12, I think. I remember it was the day I had a final for oboe pedagogy class. That's fancy for how to teach. It's teaching the teaching of music, so how to be a teacher, basically. And it was a take-home final, and I was filling out the final on my computer, and I got confirmation that I could go look at the bus today and maybe go pick it up, and I just left my computer open and forgot to turn my final in. So at like 8:59, right before the final was due, I had to get on the computer and like cram it in, and luckily I did pretty well. So that was my first day with Buddy. He stalled all the way home because I didn't know how to check for vacuum leaks, but I added oil because I knew how to do that, and then it puked oil all over the driveway because there was too much. What got me into VWs? I would say my earliest memory of a Volkswagen would be a day at the beach with my family when I was a younger kid. We went once or twice a summer, and there was a Vanagon Westphalia with the top popped. And at this time, I remember being old enough to like appreciate camping with my family, but not old enough to understand that I would own a car one day. And I was like, wait, this is a cool, boxy looking car that has an upstairs to camp in. Like, that's freaking cool. Like, this is my dream. And it was my dream car ever since. I just didn't really know that there were so many different styles and varieties or even what it was called till I got at least into high school and I saw like someone on the football team had a bay window bus. I thought that was just freaking cool. To date, I can't think of a more useful car. Like, people ask me, what's your top 5 dream cars? And it's like, well, number 1's orange and white and it's parked downstairs in the garage. Like, that's it. I drive my dream car every day. There's at least another Volkswagen on that top 5 list, and a Porsche. We'll get there in maybe another episode, but that's the questions I had this week. So I wanted to end it today with a bit of music. I don't know where anything is right now. Here we go. I wanted to end it with an album from 1968, the year the VW bay window bus was brought to the market, and sort of invented the champion of air-cooled cars and I think economy car quality over the world, Heinz Nordhoff. Nordhoff passed away in early '69. He wasn't able to really see the fruition of the bay window bus, which is sort of like his brainchild, but he did live to see the onset of the VW bus, which we're going to celebrate today with the 1968 album. We've got Barabba Joggle, whoa, by Donovan. It was released in '68. We're going to listen to the title track, Barabba Joggle, because there's a really cool story behind it. That in 1968, in 1968 in May, the Jeff Beck Group got together in a studio, Olympic Studios in London, and they provided the backing tracks for like 5 or 6 Donovan songs, and only 2 were put on the record. The other 3 came out in 2005. But the title track, Barabba Joggle, from the record has Jeff Beck on guitar. Jeff Beck didn't bring his guitar to the session. It was supposed to be sent in separately, and he showed up without a guitar, so they had to borrow a Fender Stratocaster. And what actually got me into this song was the guitar tone. It's just so unlike everything else of Donovan's, and I found this out this week that it was actually Jeff Beck. It's an all-star group. It's got John Paul Jones on the Hammond B3 organ. It's got Keith Moon on drums, the piano stylings of Nicky Hopkins, and I cannot for the life of me figure out who played bass. It was either Jet Harris or Dave Ambrose, judging by the Jeff Beck Group in that era. But if you know who plays bass on Barabba Joggle and my other favorite song that we're going to end with, please let me know. So thank you for watching, everyone. I appreciate you tuning in, asking questions, giving me stuff to talk about, because I don't have a lot to do sitting at home. I've got a car that works, so I don't have any major repairs. If you've got questions, if you've got projects, shoot them my way, and we'll work on them together. For that, this has been Office Hours number 3. Thanks for listening. Here's Barabba Joggle. All right, if you've hung around this long and you're still watching, we've got more music. I wanted to play the B-side from that. The other Jeff Beck song, the other song with the Jeff Beck Group from that album is called Trudy, and it starts with the filthy drum beat, pure filth. And it gets back into the more Donovan style, you know. But thanks for watching, everyone. Go enjoy some 1968 music. I recommend to start with Donovan's Barabba Joggle. We'll see you next week. Peace out. Just pure filth.